Well, I think we can all agree, Denver fans, the Broncos could certainly use an additional wide receiver. I think we could benefit from having a veteran wide receiver come here. And another big name wide receiver is officially on the trade block, and that is Deebo Samuel. He was granted permission today to be traded from the San Francisco 49ers for them to find a trade partner. It is interesting. How does he fit the Broncos? Would you make the trade? Would you not? We're going to dive into it real quickly. But before we do, guys, if you love Denver sports and if you love NFL draft content, hit that subscribe button, like the video. I appreciate y'all. I am on a mission to get to 1,000 subs, and it would mean the world to me. So let's get into it. Bronco fans, Deebo Samuel, one of my favorite players in the league for sure, just because I love his versatility. I love his toughness. And somebody that I kept saying, I kept screaming last season before the Broncos actually listened to me, surprisingly, of saying we need to use Marvin Mims in a Deebo Samuel-like role. And once we started to do that, it's crazy how he became more confident. He just really started to shine, and then he was able to make plays down the field for this team as well. So do we already have our Deebo Samuel, or would someone like Deebo make sense for this team? It is interesting. This news just broke, and I haven't really given it enough thought. But what I can say is I'm probably leaning that I would pass on this trade just because I don't know how he would fit from a standpoint of, his attitude. I think he's got a little bit of an attitude. I want to say he's a locker room cancer, but he might rub some people the wrong way. Now, I kind of like that. I kind of like for somebody to bring some of that toughness, some of that grit. And he's got a, history of winning while being with the Niners. So he could bring that over to us, but where would he fit, right? And everybody knows Deebo Samuel is one of those guys that he mainly fits. A lot of people think of him like he comes out of the backfield and all that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of truth to that. That is a lot of what it is that he does for the team. Let me tell you, man, this dude is 6'2", 215, right? And as a 6'2", 215 receiver, that's a phenomenal size. I mean, it's one of my favorite sizes when it comes to just a lot of these receivers because they're kind of built like running backs are. And I don't know why this thing always does this, but let me fix it. So they're kind of built like running backs. And he's somebody that's, built just like that. I mean, you can see when he runs the ball out of the backfield, he brings you a lot of juice. This is probably the only receiver in the NFL that can be considered a joker when you talk about Sean Payton's joker role, right? Because he can line up like, as an inline tight end, but, it would be more of a slot. Or he can line up out of the backfield and make plays for you as well. I think they can get really creative with Deebo. Even though Marvin Mims is kind of starting to play a lot of that similar role, Deebo is just better at that. You can continue to let Marvin get, better as a receiver and find other ways to get the ball in their hands. But let me tell you, man, you add Deebo Samuel to this offense, you're getting a lot of juice. You're getting a lot of versatility. The guy is still 29 years old, so he's still decently young. He has a 99.9 receiving grade. I've never seen that of deep passes over 20 yards. That's actually pretty damn insane. I've never seen that before on PFF before. But another thing to note here is he basically just lines up everywhere. I mean, he really, really does. And he catches the ball everywhere. I mean, you look at how it's spread out. Most of his passes are going to be short, middle, across the field. That fits exactly what it is that the Broncos like to do. But he also has, been able to get targeted kind of everywhere and be able to make plays everywhere. Deep catches, 11% of his targets were deep throws, 20-plus yards down the field. He graded obviously phenomenally there. His short to intermediate, 17.5%. But almost 50% of all of his catches were short, get him in space, and get him running across the field. So he certainly fits offensively what it is that we run, right? I mean, Sean Payton, what the Broncos need is somebody that can be open across the middle of the field and create plays. And Deebo Samuel can certainly do that. And like I said, I love the idea of having Deebo Samuel on the team, but it's also where does he fit both from the culture of the team and also within this wide receiver room, right? Is he going to hamper somebody like a Marvin Mims to be able to develop, to continue his upward trajectory, right? Because I'm always of the ability that if you can develop your in-house guys, it's always going to be the best case scenario. Also, what's the trade target level going to be like? What are you looking at trading for someone like Deebo, and what's his contract going to be, right? And we could take a look at his contract right now, but there's a lot that go into, is he going to be, Are they going to eat some of the cap? Are we going to eat some of the cap to give him a less of a pick? What is that going to look like? So when you take a look at his contract this upcoming season, he's basically got 1 year left on his deal. So he'll be a free agent afterwards. So if you make the deal for Deebo, you're probably going to look at extending him at least a few years. I think that it would make sense. His $15.8 million cap hit is actually not that bad. And if you look at an extension for him, it's probably going to bring that number down. So I don't think financially it's going to be a really big problem. It's just going to be, what are you going to give up for him, right? Because he's a little bit younger and he's shown that he can make a lot of, big time plays. He's certainly somebody that I think can maybe like a third round pick. I don't think a second, maybe like a third and a fifth or a third and a sixth could get the job, the deal done. I'm not entirely sure. I'm kind of just making this up on the fly. If that's going to be the cost, I would probably avoid it, just because I don't know about like the clear fit. The reason that I think someone like Cooper Kupp makes a lot of sense is because you're not going to be giving much at all when it comes to, a day 3 pick is totally fine with me. Another thing is that you have a clear vision for him and where he would fit on this team, right? He's a pure slot guy, but he could also play outside very well. So because he can do both of those, you just plug him wherever you need him based off the rest of the roster. Deebo, I'm not really sure. It kind of gets convoluted with the Broncos team. So it'll be interesting. But man, oh man, is it fun, right? If the Broncos are looking to take care of the wide receiver or fill a hole that they have in wide receivers, they have the ability to do so in both free agency and now in the trade market as well, with Cooper Kupp being an option, Deebo Samuel being an option. I'm still on the Chris Godwin train. I think he's someone that we should certainly target. There's T. Higgins, there's Darius Slayton. There's a lot of guys. So I wanted to make this quick video, man. Broncos country, let me know your thoughts. Me personally, I would still, if you're looking at trade targets, by the way, you also have Devontae Adams that could become available too. But if you're looking at trade targets, I would say definitely Cooper Kupp over Deebo. But the more I look into it and the more I kind of evaluate, I want to see like where he's been lining up. Is he, strictly pure, just this short to intermediate round guy, type of guy? Then I would maybe be able to change my opinion on it. But I like Cooper Kupp over this Deebo Samuel deal. But damn, it is intriguing. Let me know what your thoughts are below, guys. Spend time with those you love the most. Enjoy the Super Bowl. And until next time, peace out.